between MIM.
Yep, that's right.
So let's see what they can do. Kuban was throwing that out there. Vayne going down, so Candy Panda saying, you know, Vayne may not be on the top of everybody's cream of the crop list right now, but when I want to win.
Lucian is available, though. And I think if Super Hot Crew do not take Lucian this time around, I do feel like SK Gaming may decide to lock that one in. It is something that we have seen them do in the past. With the Elise being banned out as well, Renekton is available, which would also be another contested pick. I believe that, you know, it's Freddy's one of his mains, and it is still a very, very strong pick for up in that top lane.
Morgana is also still open. Mimer with the first pick coming into this game had a quadra kill on Shyvana last game. Almost getting the penta, but taken down, coming in very strong by Freddy 1-2-2. So we see, as you said, Renekton being the first one.
Maybe a Lucian Annie might be a consideration here. Svenskeren in the jungle, he likes to run Olaf, Lee Sin, and Eve as the other sort of junglers. So those would be the picks that I think both of these teams are going to be considering, are going to be prioritizing in this matchup. And it's something they have played a lot. If Olaf and Eve get locked in, that means Freddy's probably going to take tanky top lane Olaf. He likes to play those tanks. He likes to play the high hit point champions.
Trying to get the beef in. Svenskeren definitely played quite a good Eve last game. He was getting the initiations in, but we heard, as you said, from Deficio, the follow-up wasn't there in the late game.
Yeah.
So they may try that once again. More switch. He does quickly lock in the Lee Sin, who has actually been seeing quite a bit of bans.
It's one of Svenskeren's mains. Like, Svenskeren has been playing Lee Sin for the longest period of time, and for quite a long period of time, there's many who've considered his Lee in particular to be one of the best in Europe. So we'll see if he can make a count, because there's a lot of power picks that are going over. With the Lucian being denied, we may see another Sivir, maybe Sivir Annie, Sivir Karma, maybe, if SK feel that it wasn't the champion picks, it was the way they played it. And that's probably what I'd like to see.
For Taric is being hovered over right now, and it looks like that is what Nif will want. He's been playing a lot of anti-Taric, trying to come in here with stun, aggressive champions and Nif play style. We'll see if it works out for them this game. The bottom lane was a big area of attention in that last game for SK, so we'll see if they continue.
You know what I do like about this? You've got 3 physical damage threats over on the other side. Renekton, Vi, and Lucian. And what's the best way to counter physical damage threats? Armor. And who's going to have the most abundant armor supply on the planet? It's going to be Taric. So I really like the pick in here. The longer that this game goes on, the more armor Nif will be able to build up. And thanks to, you know, the rework kit, the aura it's going to give off. I like that that's going to play into SK's hands. And I actually think that is a very key component to these team fights.
And they do grab the possible Sona for Migza on the other side. He's been playing, or at least played that Karma. Let's see, Nif. Yeah, so he's going to take on to Sona. That's still very much so kill potential. Taric Sivir used to be the lane of Taster's choice back in the day. You hit one boomerang blade, it's over. It doesn't work quite that way right now. You can still take a few, but that is aggression, and you're probably not going to kill them.
And it did go that way in the laning phase of that previous match. You know, Candy Panda and Nif, with the help of Svenskeren, really put a lot of pressure onto Hadal and Mixer. And Hadal and Mixer struggled to deal with it. They didn't necessarily have the counter ganks because Vi's early ganks are not very powerful. The Gragas pick is going to be hit or miss, as is any champion that throws out a skill shot with a time delay.
See what you did there.
And I think that, I'm hoping that Jez is his practices. It is one of his most played champions. Ziggs, Gragas, and Orianna are his 3 most played champions. But he's decided in this matchup, the displacement power against the sort of all-in comp is more valuable than the long-range boom.
Takes a champion, anything with my Q can go anywhere.
That's it.
Just keeps it fresh. So we are coming into game 2. Like you said, SK does have a few members, and not namely, that can kind of tilt off and maybe go in their own direction. You may see that in the fights. We'll have to see. This is just a prediction coming out. But they're also a team that has been known to just bolster themselves and come back even stronger and wow you in the beginning of the game and take driver's seat right away.
Yeah, once again, the decision-making is going to be the key. In order to be in that driver's seat, in order to come back, they need to make clear-cut calls, act on them together, and move together. You know, if we go back to that first game and go all the way back to like one of the first Dragons, Candy Panda was milling around bottom lane while the rest of SK was posing for Dragon. You're like, you can't afford that. You cannot afford to be 10 seconds late to a fight, especially with an AoE ultimate like Sivir, like On the Hunt. You need to be there. You need to be ready to start, react, and, you know, kite, like we've seen Alliance doing to Dignitas earlier today.
And does SHC play the lanes right this game? Do they figure out pushing with the minions? Obviously, it doesn't help more, but that's what's going to get them that next tower after the kills, and not just kind of hanging out.
And of course, the weak early ganks of Vi definitely going to play a case as we are in game for the second match here of the LCS promotion series between Super Hot Crew and SK Gaming.
Let's see what these guys have for each other right out of the gate. They're going consumables on Jez's this time. He did play a bit of a Doran's shield on his Zed last game, so he looks to stay in lane and just keep throwing out barrels against a Doran's ringed Moopa. Moops. I'm gonna keep my eyes on that lane.
So what we are seeing as well with the supports is we do see that Targon's Brace coming down, the Relic Shield rather, for Nif. So he's opting to go for that one as a nice strong play from Super Hot Crew. Very reminiscent of the 2013 season. Group up.
None of that last game.
Get that ward down on Wraith and back when, exactly like you highlighted, was not done in the previous matchup.
Both teams looking to go straight ward trinkets out of the gate on this one. Nothing in the jungler's hand, so Impaler doesn't go for the sweeper. SK stays all with trinkets. You're gonna see pretty much orthodox buys around. We are staying with the Spell Thief's Edge as well for Megza in the beginning of the game.
And it does look like we're going to have straight matchups once again. 1v1s and the 2v2s across the board. So we can most likely expect Svenskeren to once again do lots of early ganks. Lee Sin is much like Evelyn in that regard. Very, very strong in the early stages of the game. And ideally, you want to start snowballing yourself or a lane in order to continue snowballing. Lee Sin is going to become a lot more utility, but as Lee Sin sort of starts to fall off a little bit, Olaf will start to pick up. So it'll be balanced out in the team comp.
Guys are playing songs for us right now in the beginning of this game. Just pinging all over the map. Looks like they are actually going to swap these ones out. They take a little bit of extra time to figure that out, and they get their moves down. So the pings were for the good of it. And we'll have to see what they...
He's incredibly powerful right now, and partially because of just how much of a lane bully he is. And it does look like we are going back in, and we are loading up. And one of the strengths of Lucian, he's got great scaling on his abilities, and the amount of pressure you can apply in the laning phase, thanks to that light sling and just the double shot from his passive, is very, very powerful there. The piercing light, that's the one.
Right.
And it just allows you to really hit hard. In a 2v1, it's less apparent though, because you can't bully out your opponents. You can't deal damage to squishy supports. As Mixon and Impaler with a very strong move here against Svenskeren.
Speaking about bullying out your opponent, Svenskeren not able to get the blue buff on the way around, and that leaves him sitting at 2. Impaler, 3 out of the jungle. Very
good decision there from Super Hot Crew, and this is part of the reason I like this Super Hot Crew composition. Impaler has been very active during the We Play group stages, qualifying for this event, and in a lot of the games we've seen them play, just because he's not afraid to roam, he's not afraid to invade.
Just sitting in the face of Mimer, taking some shots on his turret. So HSC, you can see them kind of playing out on blue side what they had intended on the switch. They leave their AD carry bottom. I don't know if that was intended, but I think it happened a lot because that other bottom had switched top. So very well played there. Impaler going to get himself a little bit ahead, but it's so early still. We'll have to see if they make use of it.
Yeah, that's the key. What does Impaler do with this? With the additional buff, he's actually going to hit level 6 earlier, and that's very, very important for Super Hot Crew. It's going to allow them to make ganks with that Assault and Battery, and if you combine Assault and Battery plus the Renekton or the Vi Orianna ultimate, it's going to be very, very strong at securing kills. Mima does get out thanks to that Dazzle, and Nif just gets away.
We'll see what they do. The Spell Thief's Edge, as we said before, still on the support. I believe our first Targons we see coming in here on Nif, so...
Yeah, I think it's actually the first one of the weekend.
Yeah.
First one of the weekend. What we see from OGN, that the Relic Shield does get upgraded to Targon. They spam some gold as much as possible up until about the 16, 17, 18-minute mark. And then basically once they've generated a bunch of gold back, they actually sell it in favor of the coin. That's the trend that we've been seeing over from OGN, and we'll have to see if Nif is going to mimic it. Right now, Impaler is setting himself up in this top lane, maybe anticipating a dive, as Nif and Candy Panda are just trying to get a lot of damage on this tower.
Going to be a good soak-up of experience here. Ooh, Dazzle on the outside.
That didn't work out.
That didn't work out too well. Impaler should be able to return to the jungle after soaking up this experience, but he's trying to keep himself in here. That will help from that camp that he missed. They do share it, but he can't be afford to not to be in lane. There's too much pressure going all over.
Yeah, a lot of tower damage going down in the top lane. Candy Panda and Nif not really gesturing as though they were going to go for any form of dive. It looked like Nif actually wanted to auto-attack the tower. And as we highlighted during those brief pauses, that the junglers were most likely going to go for this defense position. They really want to try to hold on to their outer ring of towers as long as is possible.
And you got to consider how much less of a threat a level 4 Lee Sin coming in without a red buff is. Pretty much getting away, stand behind the minions, nothing's going to slow you down. So he is kind of just forced to stay in his jungler, soak up experience right now with Freddy.
Yeah, and losing that blue buff for Svenskeren was massive early on. That really slowed down his clear speed. Not having the cooldown reduction on an energy-based champion, having the mana regions can be a problem, but the cooldown reduction is just going to allow him to clear those waves out much faster and make sure he can carry on pushing. He is looking like he's going to posture towards this bottom lane again. And if you combine the undertow axes plus the execute damage of Lee Sin, there is kill potential, but I think they both want to hit 6 first. That's the key.
Migza and Haydale know they can be a bit more aggressive with that Sona sustain. They're keeping themselves just about half mana for any tricky engages, but still keeping the pressure on. Even gold across the board here as both of them are trying to, or both ADCs on the sides are trying to keep that 75% push mark, so they're not in too much danger.
Yeah, Haydale's got a lot of damage down onto this tower, and that's what we were talking about. The slow is going to come in, but simply can't trade thanks to that massive burst of damage just from the piercing line and the auto attacks. That shredded Svenskeren's HP.
Good to go for a little bit longer. Impaler picking up a pink ward just under 7 minutes here. It seems like they want to grab an area for safety, or maybe start to make some moves, because this top turret taking some big damage and not much Mimir can do.
Now that's actually evening it out. SK were behind in the damage front because Haydale was, I mean, they're going to secure this tower on this next wave. So
it's true.
There's a lot of onus now on Candypan and Nif to try to get this tower down in the next wave or two to even up the gold. If Super Hot Crew can move top to defend their tower, that's going to be a great advantage for them.
You got to see that Haydale also doing a lot better in the beginning of this game. He was down in CS from trying to poke so much last game, but is really focused on what they need to do. But it is the 2v1, which even makes you want to poke more sometimes.
But it's great to see, though, in a 2v1, he's still keeping up in CS, and they've actually won the 2v1 matchup because they've secured the first tower of the game. So very good win here for Super Hot Crew. SK Gaming decided to back off the top lane. You can see Candy Panda and Nif have recalled. BF Sword secured there for Candy Panda's Siva. And it looks like they're just going to move down to the bottom lane. So they've basically foregone that top lane tower and said, look, we can't take it or we don't want to take it, so we're going to move bottom.
Freddy taking the long way around to the top side. It looks like he will finally get there to meet a wave at the turret, so that's going to work out nicely for him. They will try to grab, well, they already have control, but Nif wants a little bit more. If they start to ward up onto the dragon, and now with the 80 carry support bottom, they might be able to work something out.
That could be the reasoning for the switch.
Yeah, because they haven't taken that yet.
Yeah, nobody's made any sort of moves for Dragon with the exception of those wards now. And if SK have the numbers advantage in the bottom half of the map, that is going to allow them to either challenge for it or secure it themselves. And I think that's very, very key to note. Blue buff has respawned. Remember, the last one was stolen away. Remember, Impaler and Mixer challenged for it and took it. And reading it like a book, Nif knows they've dazzled him.
Oh, they said we're here for our blue buff, and then they said, nope, that was ours. Inside the jungle is going to be the bungle, and it looks like Svenskeren gets out the last tick, takes him down. The ignite from Migza coming out strong, and he is able to pick up the first blood for his team, and they maybe even need securing the second blue buff.
Now, blue buff is picked up, and that is a monumental failure. They got the jump onto Super Hot Crew and were unable to convert that kill. Oh, the dragon being picked up as well. This is a big swing in power for the Super Hot Crew. 2 blue buff steals and a dragon secured. That is brilliant play, plus the tower to go on top of it.
They threw down so many, if you look at that blue buff on the other side, they threw down so many wards, and all the wards that SK had were behind them after the fight was engaged, so they really didn't have much vision of what they wanted. Big fight up here. Freddy forced a ghost from Mimir as he throws down the ultimate. Mimir looks like he's just going to try to get some extra damage down, but that means he could probably take that next engage.
Yeah, Flash and Ignite is available, so the next time Dominus comes up, if Freddy decides to stick away, Freddy is going to be at risk of being taken down. And you know, SK, they read the invade. They knew that Super Hot Crew was going to challenge for that blue buff. They had set up for it, but they just didn't have the numbers. Once again, Candy Panda just arriving a little late to the party. Jez is not getting any of Gragas' damage down. It just didn't work out for them. Freddy's going to be a bit brave here. He's triple Doran's here. Double Doran's blade, single Doran's shield. against the Giant's Belt and 2 Doran's items. So he's a little bit mismatched as far as the HP is concerned.
A lot of these Lucians throwing in that Ruby Crystal as they go along their build for the Bloodthirster into that Trinity Force, keeping himself tanky, and you can see winning the shots versus Candy Panda. That's not giving them too much trouble, but they did push, so they can finally back in that bottom lane. We'll see what they pick up. It's only going to be sustained for Candy, so still that lane seems like it's going to be quite slow between them. Sustain on both sides, poke on both sides.
Yeah, it comes down to, I think, jungler assistance in this case. You know,
right.
Haydel and Mixa actually have potential of killing Candy Panda if they combine the Crescendo with the culling and get every shot to land. But right now, I think Impaler and Mima, they want to set up a dive here. Assault and Battery is available. That's a double buff Impaler. The question is, are they going to go for not enough minions? So, starting to back this one out.
Freddy says, get out of here.
That was a little weird. Walked right up, basically said, hey guys, what's up? And now they've backed away. Maybe this way.
Nobody's come up to help him yet. So he has his ultimate. He's got to call that out, but his ghost is down. He blew his ghost last time because the ultimate wouldn't have saved him. But here, he knows he needs to hightail it out of there.
Yeah, Freddy is going to at least get away a little bit safer this time around, but slightly awkward posturing from Mima and Payla. They want to just try to zone him out. He's losing minions, he's losing experience, he's losing gold. So it is still wins for them overall. And you can see that Candy Panda, and if they're just dealing with the minion wave pushing up towards them, they're not trying to shove the tower down. It actually feels like SK is trying to stall a little bit, buying some time to farm up and power up a little bit.
Do you feel that it's been a mistake that the top turret was left alone after they lost theirs? Do you think that should have been equally traded to keep these lanes flowing?
It ended up being that way because hindsight is 2020. But the decision for that, you see Nif going down bottom, he sets up wards around Dragon.
Right.
They knew blue buff was respawning, and they knew SUPA Crew was going to challenge for blue.
That's true.
But then they executed very poorly. You know, so the decision-making was good.
It was there.
The execution was poor, and that's why they lost blue buff and lost Dragon, and didn't get the tower at the same time. So, you know, it's only because we can break it down knowing how it planned out. But I think it's good that SK are thinking that far ahead.
Absolutely.
It does show forethought that they were not necessarily doing in game one.
So the numbers also spell that out here, 18,000 to 15,500. We got 12.5 minutes in the first blood going over to Migza, so it's not too crazy. He was able to get the Sight Stone, which means they can get a little bit more coverage on the map. We'll see if he brings out his sweeper soon.
Yeah, I guess once they start moving around the map, that's the key. You know, once they decide to start pushing into their opponent's jungles, it's about 13 minutes, so unless my math is terrible, in the next sort of minute and a half to 2 minutes, I think, is when the Dragon's going to be respawning. And that's most likely where we're going to see our next fight. Both of the teams are going to be aware of it, know roughly the time frame. And I think SK has to challenge. I don't think SK can afford to give up or give away any more of that global gold.
Good wards in the bottom lane are keeping Candy Panda safe, but they see Migza going around. Will they try to do anything with this? I don't think so, because it looks like Sven Skaren is taking his wolves, or wraiths at the moment.
Yeah, Sven Skaren feeding the pinch. Double Ruby Crystal in his items at the moment, you know. Over on the other side, Impaler's got that Spirit of the Ancient Golem completed, and it's only being met by a Spirit Stone. So Sven, he is up on CS, but he wants the instant power of those double Ruby Crystals as opposed to investing it into, you know, upgrades along the line. So
that is quite interesting.
It's a little different. It's a little different, but I think it's because he's anticipating a fight and he just wants that right now. Impaler may be the one to pull the trigger.
He's ready to punch.
Up and
ask questions later.
Away.
3K or 2.5K still sits between these two teams. Impaler looking for his third blue buff that's not really his, but SK says we are going to do everything in our power to stop this one from going to you guys. They have sent 4 now. Coming around the backside is going to be both Moops and Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus is being zoned up. On the hunt comes out. That's Fence going over the wall. They've caught Moops.
Moops is just on the outside. He throws it, but they flash over the shockwave, knock him down. Jesus picks up a nice kill there, and it's going to be 3 on the assist.
That's a great decision from SK. Realizing they can forego the blue buff to pick up a kill and the mid turret. If they then roll around to pick up Dragon, this is a great decision from the team. Now we do see Hadal defending it as in comes Impaler.
Impaler trying to do just that, and he gets it back onto Candy Panda, forces the flash. The Sivir ultimate is down, so this is all that they can do for themselves. Clicking away, a nice crescendo going across the team. Nif is going to be the next to fall. Jez is on the outside with the blue buff, is going to be able to body slam away safely if necessary, but the 2 for nothing on that.
Yeah, now Freddy's joined the party. That was a 4v4, really, as they did shut down Moops. This is going to be the tower falling in favor of Super Hot Crew if they can get the minion line to back it up. I keep getting too antsy, actually. SK Gaming end up losing the fight 2 for 0 in that mid lane engage. And a great little cheeky move.
Gone down, but
cheeky move by Svenskeren. Lands the Sonic Wave, kicks Mixer over the wall, and then follows it up to follow him with, but it wasn't enough to get to safety. And this is going to allow Super Hot Crew to actually pick up the Dragon now. So this is their second Dragon of the game, and it's going to give them a nice gold lead. Freddy may want to play, but there's nobody else supporting him, so not really going to work out for them.
Exit stage right, says SK, or rather SHC, as SK comes in from the top side. They get out safely. Starting to get a little bit of a gold discrepancy here, something we did not see in last game. Also in kills, and the turrets right now in favor of SHC. They were able to push down that bottom one quite quickly due to the 2v1 situation.
Yeah, 4,000 gold lead right now is a pretty sizable amount, but the way that it was generated, I think, is more important. SK seem to be reading Super Hot Crew fairly well. They seem to be predicting the movements, but they're not capitalizing. They're not turning it into victories. They're not securing their blue buffs and things like that. So unfortunate for SK, they continue to fall behind. If they don't stop the rot soon, Super Hot Crew may be able to just instantly win any fight they choose because they're going to be able to just engage with Renekton and Vi, and nobody on SK can stop them right now.
No one looking for too much aggression right now. Since the beginning of this game, we've seen the teams feeling a bit more comfortable. There were more early wards. There have been more engagements, but better fights this game. The nerves have kind of been shaken off, and everybody's a bit more controlled. We'll have to see what they can do in this top lane. We talked about the kill potential of the slows. We'll have to see if it works.
We'll have to see if there's any kill potential here onto Mimus. Svenskeren has managed to sneak in from the river, and they booted him backwards.
They haven't hit the Q yet. He still has that to follow, and he does get it after the flash, but is it going to be enough? Where's the cripple? He's trying to keep him in. Oh, the assault battery comes in. The vault breaker. Do they take him down? Freddy in the trade for the retribution kill, and they are both forced to walk away.
Trading 1-for-1 with Freddy being able to pick up that kill is pretty good news for him. He is falling a little bit behind on CS. Now Nif and Candy Panda, they want blood on Hadal.
Hadal throwing out or calling. I don't know if he's going to be able to get out of this one. Oh, he says no, and Nif almost walked in that one.
Crescendo's available if Mixer wants to go in. Are they going to go for it? That's the real question.
Oh, he still had it. He tried to time it. To his credit, he tried to time it, but it does last quite a bit, and he gave his best effort.
Great spell shield there from Candy Pandas. We do see Impaler really bullying Svenskeren around. We do see the sort of matching items as far as the defensive stats is concerned. One additional cloth armor, but it's not a massive amount of armor to rave about. Now, Super Hot Crew continue to extend this lead. It's now 5,000 gold lead. They've got 4 kills to 2. They're still a tower up. Yeah. And I think they're playing this very well. They're playing it patiently, and they're not overcommitting, which I think is what SK's mistakes have been in defense of their buffs.
Yep, it's a good way to put it. Coming up on 20 minutes into this game, kind of see everybody at their lull in power, but at their most to try to get something out of the game. Everybody's trying to finish that last core items. Both Moops and Jazzes have gone for the Athene's Unholy Grail, just favoring that cooldown and magic resistance, because that lane, like I said, it's the kill lane for those two. It's just a skill matchup.
Now, I'm happy you actually talked about them, because I don't think we've seen much of them at all, really.
Yeah.
Moops and Jazzes have just been farming their way up, and it's pretty apparent that Moops is winning the farm battle, thanks to having 40 CS more than Jazzes at this point.
Just a few.
I mean, that's basically 2 kills worth of gold.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's already showing. Athene's completed plus the Blasting Wand. He hasn't completed his Sorcerer's Shoes yet. And even though he's a kill down, it is because 5 members of SK dove onto him. If he can land another good Shockwave, that could be a game-changing moment. That could lead to bigger objectives for Super Hot Crew. And with blue buff respawning, it does look like SK may have the fight they're looking for. A little bit of a deep ward there coming out of Hadal. They want to be well aware of SK's positions. And it feels like every fight that's happened has been because of this blue buff.
Impaler wants it so bad that it's the engagements. A little bit of a wall there in front of Impaler. He learned about that. Trying to go through walls doesn't work too well. Svenskeren going to take some damage. Calling all the way to the backside. Actually takes down Nif in the last few shots. A very nice reactive flash there. Trying to get themselves some more engagement, but they couldn't get it down.
Now, Mima was actually going toe-to-toe with Freddy. Freddy did not use his Ragnarok, and it actually looked like he was able to scare Mima away a little bit. Mima's going to carry on farming, but the tower was secured. So even though the top lane fight is swinging a little bit even, Mima's going to be a bit cheeky and get out. Super Hard Crew, they secure the second tower of the game. It's the mid lane tower. That's going to make it even easier to challenge on those blue buffs that we've seen them doing constantly throughout this game.
I can't help but notice, he does have a kill. Obviously, that's going to help. It was first blood. Moby Boots, Ruby Sightstone, the Edge, and there's no Sightstone yet. The Targon's fully upgraded now, and he's still just trying to go out for consumables.
It's a bit of a risky play from Nif, but on the same token, he's not had any money to work with. There's no global gold coming in. He's got 1 assist to his name.
That's true. They haven't taken down the turrets.
No dragons, no turrets. So there's nothing else supplementing his gold. The Targon's Brace has currently generated about 550 gold. So he's working his way up to breaking even. Over on the other side, the Frostfang, which is, of course, upgrading from the Spell Thief's Edge, is sitting close to 640 gold. So, you know, it actually looks like the poking item is working out in favor of Mix's Sona. Around this time is when he sold it in favor of the coin. So we'll see if the same stays true.
And he's also switched to the red trinket as well. They're getting 2 sweepers out, 1 now on Impaler, who started with 1 coming out of that first game. So we'll have to see if this starts to really play in their favor. They're going to have vision control, and they already have map control.
So 15 seconds for Dragon. The blue buff was stolen by Super Hot Crew, taken by Moops as it respawned after that last team fight. And you can see SK, they're setting up some vision. They don't want to give it away. Mima and Freddy, the slow battle of the tanky top laners, they're going in.
The wet noodle fight continues, and it stops. They need to make some more noodles.
Mima's noodle's bigger, but Freddy's can be thrown. You can see it in their weapons. As it stands right now, SK do have a positional advantage on Dragon. If they want to start it, however, they run the risk of Super Hot Crew running down mid lane to the inhib turret. First tower secured there by a split-pushing Sivir of Candy Panda, which, once again, he did in the previous game.
I love that both of these teams are still trying to do everything they can, in which they should, but they are completely there in time. Like you said, SK has been kind of foreshadowing what they need to do for themselves, and they may just get pushed in and out of this Dragon.
They're grouped up. The fight has started. Jesus is in trouble. Needs to do a defensive ult.
It looks like Freddy could be getting hit up quite hard. It does get rocked around by the command shockwave. Everybody trying to regroup from that chaos, and it means flashing out of the fight right now for SK. That was quite a bit for them. And now to turn around, Dragon still very low. For SHC to go with that before fighting, this is so chaotic.
Yeah, it's not over yet. Nif's now in trouble.
He could go down at the end of this fight. A final shot from Haydel after the ability. 1-2 on the passive. Is it enough to finally take down Dragon? It is. We see SK backing.
Yeah, there's not much they can do. Jez
Jez
needs to be a little careful here. He is trying to be a bit cheeky. It's not going to work out in his favor. And, he's just got zoned out. Simple fact of the matter is he got zoned out by Super Hot Crew, and because Super Hot Crew could regroup and then challenge as a 5, SK Gaming couldn't use that explosive cask to displace Super Hot Crew and allow their mobility to reign supreme for them.
So 6,000 gold as it ticks up to 37,000 to 31,000 here. 2-1 in turret still, so the objectives have been quite a big focus. If you can say Impaler's been going for blue buff maybe, but the Dragon now being focused and probably some turrets to follow after these next fights.
At least 1,000 gold separates each of these players, with 1,500 between the supports. It's a big amount of money that Super Hot Crew have already invested into their items. Once again, wet noodle fight is barely going on between these top lanes. Spirit Visage and Sunfire Cape. In comparison to the Sunfire Cape and the Negatron Cloak, Freddy is very far behind right now. A complete item difference. And it's going to be a while before he's going to be able to even up that.
Getting that minion with a Sunfire Cape. Just grabbed it right up. 24 minutes into this one, 7-3. It's going to be now another grand. It's like these guys have an investment account or something. It just goes up a grand while they walk around. See what they can do with this. That was the Trinity Force and the Bloodthirster being built out on Haydel, and he's just been having a heyday. 3-0-3, way better than he was performing last game, and it's really their game. They're in the driver's seat. It's no back feet for them.
So two things definitely work into his favor. Number one, switching over to the Lucian has definitely helped him out in terms of damage and picking up the kills in the early game. As you can see, big chunk onto Candy Panda. Showing a couple auto attacks. But the one thing that also is very important to note is the 2v1s. Super Hot Crew simply played the 2v1 better. And that one call all the way back at 12 minutes, 12, 13 minutes to say, defend blue buff from SK Gaming, is what started the snowball, started the spiral.
Blue buff is like Baron this game.
Oh, it does look like Mimer's going to be in trouble. Dazzle's going to come out. They've jumped on the Crocodile.
Oh, is Mimer in trouble, though? The Croc tries to get out, throws down the Dominus. He is also going to bring Justice into this one. There it is. Did he get the assist on that? Possibly not, but they know that Impaler is just on the other side waiting.
Yeah, he's going to be able to dive in here. Assault and Battery is up, but he needed to use the Vault Breaker through the wall, so not going to be able to lock anybody up. And Mimer, he basically just pops Dominus to run away from 3. SK Gaming couldn't lock him down, couldn't chase him down, and he gets out cleanly.
Game of mobility here. 3 boots on the board. Impaler trying to chase, Migza trying to chase, and also, obviously, Nith trying to get those dazzles down.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is round 3. SK Gaming have lost 2 previous fights around this buff. They are going to try again, and hey, 3rd time's the charm, right? It worked for Young Buck and the Copenhagen Wolves yesterday.
And is this that big, or are they putting it in their head that it is?
They do not want Jezzes to have the cooldown reduction and the spamming ability. And
this is
also,
true.
to maintain map control is working out for Super Hot Crew. Vision is there. The fact that SK is almost playing into Super Hot Crew's hands, this is benefiting them. SK need to push somewhere else, make a play elsewhere on the map. Blue buff is still alive, and the fight's going to break out at any second, but SK don't want it. They're afraid of the engagements.
SHC has the lead, and like you say, SK can't afford to just keep defending a blue buff.
Initially, it was good for SK to respond and try outplay.
Right.
Now they're behind, and SHC's aware of it. I would dare say Super Hot Crew are baiting them into that decision.
Every time.
We're going to challenge your blue. Come play with us. We'll secure your blue. And if you stick around long enough, our toys are bigger than yours, and we're going to hurt you more. It's that simple.
The 26th minute, it has just been a constant knocking on the door at that blue buff. SHC, got to give him credit for sticking with a strategy and not veering off. Freddy going to be engaged on here. The assault battery to the back line, making sure they stop both of them up. The ultimate coming out. Doesn't look like he's going to fall with Ragnarok, but they are going to try to re-engage. Nif, right in the middle of the fight, is going to be going down eventually. Mimer picks up the first kill of this one. Blood will be spilled as he picks up a second kill. Almost up to 10 kills here. Is it going to be going to Hayday on the other side of the map? Throws down the culling. Is it enough? He tries to get the last 2 shots off, but it's not in range.
No, not this time around. I don't think he's been able to dash up. We'll have to see if the cooldown comes up quickly enough. Now, there's no more movement speed
the chase
from
is
Candy
on.
Panda. Trinity Force is giving additional speed. Haydel decides to back away. But another strong win, and Super Hot Crew doing 2 things well. Number 1, proving they're not colorblind and moving to the red buff to challenge for that one. And while they were moving to red buff, found members of SK Gaming, and they managed to pick up a team fight.
They're like, hey, this is familiar.
Exactly. So, hey, we're doing it on that side of the map. Let's do it on this side of the map. And just to go a little further back, when that little duking out was happening at blue, Impaler actually stole blue buff with Smite. Just a nice hint and tip for everyone doing that. If you're invading to take a buff, use Smite. It's safer, it's more secure, you don't run the risk of it being stolen, and donate your blue buff to your mid lane carry, because that's in a lot more controlled, safer environment.
It's a nice thing to do.
Yeah, it's a good guy thing to do.
Come on. Turrets. Turrets not seeing as much attention this game. They've really taken a back seat to the kills. 9-3 now. The gold, much more different. We had up to 58,000 to 58,000, I believe, last game. Something really high, something really astronomical. 45 now to 37. 8K gold lead coming in. That's items on every single person in the team.
And this is also the biggest gold lead that we've seen yet between these 2 teams.
Right, or an extra item, I should say.
Extra item in addition, thanks to the bonus gold. But it's just that Super Hot Crew are in control of this one, as they were in the later stages of the previous match. You know, SK tried to make moves, but failed in making them stick. And I hadn't noticed when the Spell Thief, the Moonblade was sold, but Talisman of Ascension has been picked up by Mixer. So the engage potential is even higher now. You know, he can speed up his whole team in conjunction with his Song of Celerity movement speed increase. And it's a very powerful in and out to help counter the power of that on the hunt.
It's always nice to see your Orianna do that much damage. Now already having the Void Staff coming in. Glass Cannon builds quite a bit for these teams here as they may try to pressure this dragon, but it looks dangerous.
Yeah, I think Moops basically secured it for his team thanks to some great damage. Nobody from SK can challenge because they've lost 50%. So Karen even gets stunned up by Mima. Mima almost went in. He had that second, the dice to go back forward and decided to back away. Now the siege is on. Super Hot Crew with a numbers advantage and an HP advantage will be sitting underneath this tower to try to take it down.
As they look to pressure this one, nice shots. Haydale getting himself out safely. It really seems that we can almost consider SHC to be a team that loves to play off their momentum because they have not seemed to calm down since the win of last game.
Yeah, that's true. They continue improving on their previous plays, improving on the last moments. You can see that the vision is also being stepped up in this matchup. There's a couple more wards in and around the entries and exits to the SK Gaming jungle, which was anticipation of the dragon fight. And they had positions on it. The barrel comes up from Jez's. It's not enough.
It was a good barrel to get in there to stop some damage. No follow-up, as you said, though. Could have been had. Good damage on the turret. Haydale getting in for great shots on that. Eventually going to fall, and this means right now SHC has to realize they could start putting themselves in the position they got put in. So they need to end it if this starts to happen.
The one thing that they are doing right, they're sieging. They're forcing a split push. They're leaving Mima in the top lane. And as you mentioned, SK didn't do this in the previous game. They didn't group up and siege as a team because things were so even.
Yeah,
I think SK Gaming were afraid of it. You know, they were like, well, because we know we're not ahead, we don't want to put ourselves at risk. And it ended up costing them. In this game, Super Crew know that they've got the advantage and they're playing to it. I also want to just touch on the 0-1-5 of Moops' Orianna. He's getting a lot of extra gold thanks to the support's assist scaling goal that we've been talking about in 3.14.
He is also at 308. We saw just his plays in general. If he's not on the map to be alive for the fights, he's stopping the dragons. He's doing the right things beforehand, and he's kind of seeing that SK is trying to do it even more beforehand, if you will. Taking a bit of damage there, nicely shielded. Is he gonna get it? I think he might get one of his.
Doesn't look like anyone's around. It doesn't look like it's around. This may be the second blue buff of the game. I think you're right that Jez is going to be securing. He does manage to pick one up, and a round of applause here for the blue buff. And you know what? I think that's Super Hot Crew just pushing elsewhere. You know, they sieged up the mid lane. You had Mima up in the top lane, and they weren't necessarily prepared to challenge that blue. And they've got enough of a lead. It's over 10,000 gold now. The question is, how do they push SK into a fight? Because they've got very good tower dive potential. Renekton and Vi, plus Orianna shield. Although, as I say that, the dive's coming from SK.
Oh, Shockwave onto 2. Looks like Jez has wanted out, but the rest of the team wanted in. He comes in back a little late. The cast did hit, but it didn't hit enough. Again, the follow-up isn't there.
Yeah, but here comes Lucian as well as Mima.
No. Dominance goes down. He's in 4 people. That is shredding HP right now. Here comes the rest of the team. They are coming out of the woodwork. How is he in the jungle? How is he coming down from the sky? They are being pushed down into the base, and it looks like they're grabbing inhibitor turrets off of this. A double kill coming in as Freddy comes back up. Another double kill. 1-1 for Mimer and Haydale.
Massive fight for Super Hot Crew. This is going to allow them to pick up the inhibitor. And like you said, Super Hot Crew coming out of the woodwork. That was a 3-man defense in the tower. Mima and Haydale managing to join from the sides and just clean up. Here's going to be a replay, as we talked about. Now, the tower had already been pushed off. Look at Lucian coming in from the side angle. And Mima just wrecks. Dominus and Sunfire Cape is dealing damage to 2, 3, and 4 members for practically the entirety of that run up the mid lane.
Wow.
And it's just going to allow them to clean up. Mixer with a flash power cord right at the end. He really wanted to get in there and make sure his team secured those kills.
Or is not enough. You got to do more. Got lane pushing going on pretty much everywhere it could happen right now. We had a bottom turret being dropped there by Haydale during the replay, bottom second tier turret. So they just grabbed all that potential gold that was sitting on the map, and it was big.
Massive amount of gold gain. Now all the map pressure is sitting in Super Hot Crew's favor thanks to the minions. Previously, it was being afforded and earned by vision and by challenging on the buffs. Now they can allow the super minions to do a big portion of that job, and they can now start to challenge the Baron, or going for the last remaining inner turret in that top lane.
More sweepers, even more sweepers coming out. Haydale picks himself one up, 34 minutes into this one, also picks himself up a red buff. They are very near 60,000 gold to 43. Looks like a forced Ragnarok here from Freddy, 1-2-2 at Mimer. Yeah, that's not going to hurt.
Care.
Not going to hurt at all.
Mimer is just running through everything right now. 5-1-4, Randian's Omen, Sunfight, Giant's Belt, and Spirit Visage. There's a Randian's Omen missing in Freddy's arsenal. That is the difference between these two lanes right now, with the exception of a Giant's Belt. I mean, Mimer's got another Giant's Belt on top of it. If you look at the junglers, the Locket of the Iron Sorori sitting in there, you've got the makings of Randian's Omen, a big difference between these two teams. And it's just, it's very difficult to see how SK can come back, with the exception of monumental throws, and this isn't gonna help.
That was big right there. Mimer actually can't get through the wall. He did slice through the wall, so he's going to be forced to walk up to this one. And you can see SK doesn't want any of it. Everything is used to disengage. Well, Haydale is just off, having a heyday.
Yeah, we see Candy Panda again with this sort of armor shred build, if you can call it that, as now the wet noodle fight is going to incorporate some additional help. Freddy's been stunned.
Looks like they bring the full dinner to this one. Freddy, oh, there's the disengage, but is it enough? They want right back into the fight. They continue to go. It's going to be the slice. He still has the dice, possibly to follow, and he does. Oh, a little bit of a misstep there. They are just pinning him in, but he gets across the wall. This is only going to be for the run. Oh, a flash. That was quite nice. Good dodge. Blue suede shoes from Svenskeren. He gets the clap out of the crowd.
It's not going to help, though, because now all of a sudden,
right, it's just so chaotic.
Get the tower. They're going to get the inhibitor tower. Heidel has held Candy Panda in place, and one of the keys to these team fights for SK Gaming is the mobility of On the Hunt. It's not doing anything. Mama taking some turret hits, and he doesn't care. That's going to be a dead Candy Panda.
Sniper Haydale coming out, goes right past the inhibitor turret, and this one's going to be taken down, not gone past. So they look to get more gold out of this. You can just see them doing everything they have, because the surrender vote has come out in this promotion game.
SK Gaming call it. They tap out at 36 minutes, and you know what? When you're 15 kills to 3, you're down. Now they're down 2-0 in the best of 5. They really need to shake off some rust if they want to bounce back.
So much crazy play coming out from these guys. You have to consider the Vi's continuously in the game. But we look at SK's side. Last game, I believe it was the Sivir, the Zat, oh no, I'm sorry, the Shiv, Orianna, Sona, Ezreal, Vi, right?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of engage there. But SK's teams now are walk-ups. It's the Olaf, it's the Lee Sin. When you can jump in with an Renekton, when you can jump in with a Vi or have the Ori ult do it, it's less telegraphed, right?
So there's two things that does. Number one, having the champions that have that versatility that you can't necessarily read, and the way that you play them. I feel like Super Hot Crew had very good use of Vi ultimates in the late game, as well as Orianna ultimates. And I also feel like as a team, their decision-making and ability to execute better. This game, SK read SHC like a book. SK knew what they were going to do, knew where they were going to invade.
That was true.
Knew they were going to push. But reading the book and playing the game after knowing the strat is very different, and that was where the problem was. SK just couldn't capitalize on the knowledge that they had.
And that's different to see as well. When you're set up in that position, then you got to think of the team comps. You were fighting in Sona, and you have Orianna as well. In the jungle, they wanted that every time. You fight that in the jungle, that's why Impaler wanted to be there. Also, that's good focus they put on Jesus, to take that away every time. Why? They knew he wasn't going to be powerful on Zed, so they didn't really focus him. But this time, they wanted it.
I also think because Jesus is a player that does tilt, we've seen him do very well, and we've seen him do very poorly. If you focus him, focus his gameplay, focus his buffs, if you push him into a negative situation, you as a team can gain more than somebody just being under tooled, not having the tools necessary. You can push them into a psychological state that is benefit for your team.
All right, we'll see. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, the Super Hot Crew looks to sweep their way into the LCS. It's Game 3 between SK Gaming